Hey everybody, what's going on? This Miss Marcy, and I'm here with my Insecure Review Season 3, Episode 2. Alright, so it starts out, Issa at work texting Daniel, like, hey, haven't seen you, you've been missing in action. And he kind of, was like, oh, I'm good, so she kind of, was like, oh, okay, whatever. So, okay, then they show them at a work meeting. The girl, they sitting in a meeting trying to figure out, what they're gonna say for this slogan or whatever. And the girl kind of puts Issa on the spot, like, she just keeps on, she just basically, like, I think whatever Issa says is gonna be, that's gonna be what we need to do. So Issa just kind of, kept her answer brief, kind of like in a PR-ish kind of way, you know what I mean? So then they show Daniel and his niece in the studio, and Daniel's niece says something like, I like to be ratchet at times, and that his music makes her want to think. You know what? I think they was capturing the mentality of a lot of young people this day and age. I mean, I'm not being funny, but it does seem like that with that small part. And that's what I love about this show, is it captures a lot of things that we go that goes unnoticed, that we don't really, it's not that it goes unnoticed. It's just that it's one of those things where it captures those moments that we really don't point out. They happen and we notice it, but we just like look over it, you know what I mean? So anyway, Issa goes to Kelly for financial advice. And did y'all know that she had like a 425 credit score? So she goes to Kelly for financial advice, and she thinking she doing something. And Kelly's like, no. So basically Kelly lets her know, like, you still got things to work on, boo boo. You really do. So then we go to the scene where Daniel was at this chick's house. He's been over there for 3 days in a row, and it's obvious that she's feeling like he's overstayed his welcome, because she's just like over it. It just seems like, they're laying in the bed and stuff, and they're talking, and then she's on the computer, or she's on her phone looking at something, looking at some event that she's going to go to, and she kind of basically lets him know that I'm ready for you to go home, okay? And she basically just kind of lets him know that she was going to be doing something, and he's like, well, I've been trying to give my friend some space, talking about Issa, that's his friend that's staying with him. And she's like, well, I think you're going to have to crowd her space, because I'm going here for the weekend. What you gonna do? You're definitely not staying here. You gave me the dick, it was good, now I'm ready for your ass to go. That's pretty much what she was saying. But you know what? Daniel really wasn't tripping, because he ain't really studying her like that anyway. She's just something to do. It's just something to pass time. Just somebody to pass through. Because, we all know Daniel really loves Issa, okay? But they just can't seem to get their mess together for whatever reason. So then, what else happens? Okay, so Issa and her coworkers are having lunch, and, they get into this discussion about the logo. And the girl says if anyone has a problem, that they should have spoken up. Can't think of the girl's name. Issa says she doesn't want to be the voice of black people, and the other guy is just like, it is what it is. You may not want to be, but you are. And honestly and truthfully, that is how it is. When you're in an environment and you are of a minority, you do kind of become like the voice of the minority people. So again, another point to Issa and the writers of this show, because they always capture the things, again, that we don't really like to acknowledge, but it is the truth. So anyway, so then what happened? So Issa calls Daniel, and she's surprised that he actually answers. She asks if she can stay 2 more weeks longer than what she had anticipated on staying. And he lies and he says, well, his girl isn't cool with her being around all like that so much. So he tells her she only gets one more week and then she got to go. She's like, oh, okay. So anyway, then we see Daniel comes home to Issa doing the dishes. And he sees that she's cleaned up a bit. And he is kind of shocked by that, but it's all good. So as he's standing there talking to her about just basically nothing, he gets a text, and I guess someone he's supposed to meet up with, some guy at a club to introduce him to an artist. He's supposed to meet up with him, but the guy flaked on him, so he can't make it for whatever. So Issa offers to go. She's like, I'll go. And he's like, okay. So they go, and they get in. They're in line actually, and they're having some issues trying to get in because the dude is the bouncer at the door is like, nah, you can't get in, bruh. And at that very moment, Khalil walks up and he hugs Issa like, hey, they start talking and stuff just briefly. And Daniel kind of is in his feelings just a little bit, but he plays it cool. But because of Khalil, they actually get into the club. And once inside, Khalil says he has a table and everything. They can come sit with him, and Daniel immediately, he's like, nah. His ego kicks in and he's like, nah, we good. We good. We got a table. We got tables too. So as they're sitting at the table, him and Issa, Daniel points out to Spider and was like, that's who I want to work with. That's the artist he's trying to work with. And he's like, yeah, I want to make his sound a little different. This is what I got. And he leans over and starts beatboxing in Issa's ear. And I never thought beatboxing in somebody's ear could look so sexy. Daniel just a black, sexy motherfucker. You feel me? He's just sexy, okay? He's just sexy. Because nobody can make beatboxing look that good. He's just sexy. That's all that is to it. So she's like, oh, okay. So Issa goes to the bar to get a drink, okay? And she encounters this dude with green braces, okay? And he offers to buy her a drink. And she's like, oh, you got green braces. He's like, yeah, to match my money. Such a cornball. So Daniel kind of peeps that, she's over there talking to the dude, and he kind of feels a little way. But again, Daniel and Issa kind of got that relationship where they feel a way, but a lot of times their pride and ego gets in the way, just like a lot of us do. We be feeling some type of way about somebody that we dig in or that we really care about, but for whatever reason, we want to let our pride and ego get in the way because we don't want to seem like we give a damn. We always want to seem unbothered. So that's what those are the games that Daniel and Issa plays with each other. For whatever reason, I don't know. Again, we still have yet to see the history between Daniel and Issa. Like, what went bad between them? What made them break up at one point? But I guess they'll unpack that at some point in this season. Anyway, so while Issa's over there talking to the goofy, the goofy looking dude with the green braces or whatever, two girls approach Daniel and they start talking to him, and Issa looks over and peeps that, and they ask him if he got some weed, and he like, nah. And they're like, oh, well, we out of here. So they weren't really feeling it. So after that, she comes back over to him, and they both realize it ain't nothing in this club, but they don't know that each other's thinking that. You feel me? So anyway, Daniel needs coaching to go over to approach Spider. So Issa does just that. She's like, you ready to go? You ready to go over there? And they go over there. So to where Spider was. But Khalil's over there and he's like kind of in the way. Issa immediately notices this, and so she distracts Khalil. So she starts asking about his child so that Daniel can talk to Spider. So Daniel starts talking to Spider or whatever. Now, Spider doesn't seem that impressed with Daniel. And then kind of low key, kind of blew him off a little bit to Khalil. Like, well, my man got your number, you know what I'm saying? It was just kind of like, and I could just see why Daniel would feel a way about that. So then somebody starts shooting. So then they showed, of course they leave the club or whatever. So then they show Daniel and Issa at the restaurant talking about the night. Daniel basically vents to Issa and says how he feels and he can't seem to get on his feet. No, he can't seem to get his feet off the ground, and that he feels that he got good, but Khalil got famous. It's kind of like, honestly and truthfully, Daniel's kind of coming off, I want to say almost like a hater a little bit, but it's kind of understandable because, he helped Khalil get to where he is. But like he said, Khalil got famous and he got good. But Khalil got famous, and for Daniel, fame is the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate acknowledgement of his good stuff, But I don't know. I just think he's being kind of, just a little bit of hater about it, But anyway, so they're talking and stuff, and Issa was just like, well, does it have to be a competition with Khalil? Why don't you just work with him? And Daniel realizes that she's right. So when they get back to the house, he makes a phone call. Well, basically, no, before they got back to the house, he told her she could stay longer, after they had their talk. And she's like, she's like, it took a lot of me to ask you if I could stay longer. Basically she was letting him know that sometimes you got to swallow your pride and you got to work with a person instead of working against them. So he realized she was right. He told her she could actually stay longer. And she's like, but what about your girlfriend? He's like, what girlfriend? So anyway, he was just like, oh, I'll work that out. It's no big deal. So then they go back home, and he called Khalil, and he basically told him he wanted to he wanted to meet up with him and stuff like that at a later date or whatever. So then she's sitting on the couch. Issa gets a phone call from the property management company that she had put in an application for, and they left her voicemail saying that they want to interview her. So she was feeling good about that. Daniel comes over and rubs her back, and he tells her that basically she can sleep in his bed because he's about to be up working all night. So Issa looked a little uncomfortable in that moment, but she didn't let it really show. She's like, okay. But instead of going and getting in his bed, Issa went and sat next to him and basically shows interest in what he has going on. And I like that. I like that they didn't go and start having sex, because honestly, that's what we expected them to do, but they didn't. So, and then it went off. This is a good show. I like this show. I will say that right now, I don't feel like it's bringing like the, ooh, but it's good though. It's good. So, yeah, but that was my review, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed this review, and stay tuned. All right, y'all. This is Miss Marcy. Peace.